Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in whichever time you are listening this video. Right. So this is a continuation for our earlier video. In the earlier video we have discussed about the contents of the audit report, and then we discussed about different types of audit report. Okay, different types of audit report we have discussed. Now in the today's lecture we'll continue with that discussion. So in the types of reports, we have discussed three types of reports, which is a qualified report, adverse report, and disclaimer of opinion. So qualified report will be given in two instances. So whenever the auditor has identified the misstatements and the misstatements are material but not pervasive, and there is another situation where this report is given, where the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence related to the matters whose possibilities of misstatements is material but not pervasive. Qualified opinion is given. So, and coming to adverse, auditor has identified the misstatements and the misstatements are material as well as pervasive. And disclaimer of opinion, auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the matters whose possibility of misstatements may be material as well as pervasive. Now listen, what changes will happen in the audit report section we will once discuss, and we'll find out why it is important, because it is important for MCQs. It is important for MCQs. Okay. See, in case of qualified report, your opinion paragraph will be like this. It will start with, means, first paragraph. See, in the opinion paragraph there are two paras. In the first para you introduce the company that you are appointed as an auditor, so and so period you will conduct the audit of so and so elements of financial statements. This you will specify. Okay. And the second paragraph, under this you are going to mention your opinion. See, in case of unmodified opinion, you say that to the best of my knowledge, the financial statements are showing true and fair view of the affairs of the company, and they are presented in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Right? In case of qualified opinion, this paragraph will start with the word called as except. Except for the effects shown in basis of qualified para, the financial statements are showing true and fair view of the affairs of the company, right? Which means except whatever I said in the base of opinion paragraph, balance everything is good in the financial statements. Okay. So wherever you see the word except, okay, so in that case it denotes what? It denotes a qualified opinion. Second one is, whenever adverse opinion is given, in that case your opinion paragraph, right, so first will not change, in the second it will start with because of the effects shown in the financial statements, sorry, basis of adverse opinion paragraph, the financial statements are materially misstated. Here you say that except this balance everything is correct. Here you say that because of this everything is wrong. Okay. And then in case of disclaimer of opinion, case of disclaimer of opinion, you say that, okay, so first paragraph will be as it is, second paragraph you will say that I am unable to express opinion, right? Unable to express opinion. So these will be the wordings by which you can identify the reports. These are very, very important for your MCQs, dear. Okay, so please remember carefully, MCQs it may come. Okay. Next we'll be discussing another standard, which is ISA 701. Okay, we'll discuss what? We'll discuss ISA 701, which talks about key audit matters. Right? Which talks about what? The key audit matters. See, many of you confuse these key audit matters. I'll tell you in a very, very simple language. Remember, listen. If the auditor wants to express the opinion, in that case, in the auditor's report, he is having one place called as opinion paragraph. In the opinion paragraph, he can express here. Or if you want to express the opinion on a specified matters given as per the law and regulation, he is having another section called as report on other legal and regulatory requirements. There is another paragraph. Okay, these two paragraphs is having to express the opinion. But while conducting the audit, let us say auditor has encountered some special issues, right? Like for example, say the auditor has come across some specified revenue transactions, right, where he should perform some special audit procedures which are not regular to the normal earnings. Okay, let us say the company is doing a business of some selling electronic goods, right? The company has also the company also have started this selling these products on sale and lease back basis. Okay, selling the products on a regular basis is different. Some of these products are also given on sale and lease back. See, this is a special type of transaction where specially the revenue should be recorded, which is not in the normal course of business. Okay, so the auditor has somewhere done some procedures and he has got the information, right? So if he want to communicate this to the shareholders of the company, he doesn't have any paragraph in the auditor's report, right? That is the reason why this key audit matter paragraph has been introduced. Or let us say the management, while determining the estimates, the management has followed some special type of procedures in determining the estimates in the financial statements. Auditor has to do more work in order to get the audit procedures over that. Now if the auditor want to express this, communicate this to the shareholders, then he will be using these type of paragraphs called as key audit matter paragraphs. Okay, so ISA 701 talks about what? Communicating key audit matters in the independent auditor's report, and this is mandatory only for what? Listed companies. This is mandatory for what, my dear? It is only mandatory for listed companies. Sir, is it not given for unlisted companies? It can be given at the discretion of the auditor if he feels it is important. Otherwise, nothing. That is point number one. Point number two is point number one. Point number two is, sir, which matters the auditor will be putting under this section, right? Those matters in the professional judgment of the auditor, which means if the auditor feels that they are significant to the audit and it is necessary for the understanding of the shareholders, then he is going to put that. Okay, see here another one more point you should note here is, if the auditor feels something as significant, something as important, don't you think that auditor would have communicated with the management? Isn't it? The auditor would have definitely communicated with the management. He has got some management clarifications, he would have got some management representation letters, है ना? So in that case we can say that those matters in the professional judgment of the auditor, that is very important, very significant to the audit, and that should be known to the shareholders, will be selected as key audit matters. Okay, and second point, I said that if it is important matter, auditor would have communicated with the management, isn't it? Auditor would have communicated with the management. Now this will be done as per what? ISA 260, communication with management and those charged with governance, which means those matters which are communicated with the management under ISA 260, some of these matters, right, some of these matters are selected. This point you should understand, this point everyone should understand. Okay, some of the matters which the auditor communicated with the management under ISA 260 will be selected as per 701. Okay, and here I told you another important point is, it is only mandatory for listed companies. Mandatory means compulsory. For unlisted companies, it is at the discretion of the auditor whether to give key audit matters or not to give key audit matters. Okay, okay, so let us continue. This is all about the meaning of key audit matters. Now listen, very important, this will be regularly asked in exams. On what basis does the auditor select these key audit matters? Okay, I said that auditor, that he communicates with the management under ISA 260, he will select some matters. Now, among many matters that has been communicated with the management, which matters to be selected by the auditor? Isn't it? So while selecting the matters, auditor will select those issues, those matters where he feels that the risk of material misstatement would be high. Okay, and this will be determined by the auditor as per ISA 315, identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. And not only that, their auditor also may pick these issues based upon another criteria which is called as significant auditor judgment relating to the areas of financial statements that involved management judgments. In financial statements, there are a number of items where management judgments are involved. For example, say depreciation, life of the asset, salvage value, fair value of the asset, classification of short term and long term, provision for bad debts, provision for liabilities, isn't it? Now see, in all these areas management judgment is involved, isn't it? So while selecting the issues, auditor may select some of these issues where the management judgment is involved and auditor felt that yes, it is very very important. Okay, or the auditor also may select those events or those issues the effect on the audit significant events or the transaction that occurred during the period. So while conducting the audit, some significant issues would have happened. For example, say while conducting the audit, the auditor has identified that suddenly there is a big natural disaster. Okay, or while conducting the audit, suddenly there was a fraud identified or some raid has happened on the company. Okay, so these are the bases. See, you should always remember that these three are the basis. These three are what? The basis on which the auditor will select the issues. Okay, remember this. This is very very important from exam point of view. So here some examples has been given: significant fraud or goodwill, valuation of financial statements, fair value, blah blah blah. So many things has been given. Okay, so if you want to remember any few points, you can remember, otherwise not. But just remember the context in which this concept has been discussed. Okay, so auditor will select those issues based upon what? If they are related to higher risk of material misstatement and if they involve significant management judgments and related to any significant events that has occurred during the period. Okay, this is the basis on which it will be selected, right? And now listen about the other points. See, this information that the auditor want to put is having certain conditions, that if these matters appear in any other paragraphs, for example, say as I told you about natural disaster that has occurred, that has already been discussed, let us say it has already been dealt with the auditor's opinion, again that should not be repeated. Or going concern is affected, we are having separate paragraph for going concern issues reporting. In that case you cannot put that again in the this key audit matter paragraph, right? Why? Because the audit report, there should not be duplication, there should be transparency and there should be clarity. There should be transparency, there should be clarity, and there should not be any ambiguous statements inside the report. So whatever is repeated in one paragraph, again it should not be repeated to other paragraphs, right? So you need to put a side heading called as key audit matters, and issue wise one by one you need to discuss that in the auditor's report. Okay, good. And listen everyone, there is a common point for 700, 701, 705, 706, 710 and 720. All these are reporting standards, right? Before you give any type of comment in the auditor's report, right? If you want to put key audit matters, if you want to put modification, if you want to put emphasis of matter paragraph, other matter paragraph, if you want to put any corresponding figures reports, if you want to give any additional information, opinion on additional, sorry, this inconsistencies of additional information, everything before you communicate, so before you report, you should compulsorily communicate with management or those charged with governance. Okay, those charged with governance, compulsorily you should do this. Okay, there is no exception, right? So this is all about our concept of ISA 701. See, in ISA 701, 3 points you should remember. First point is the meaning. The second point is on what basis the auditor would be selecting this key audit matters. And the third point is how this issue is reported in the, placed in the auditor's report, right? And always remember, this key audit matters will be there below the basis of opinion paragraph. First comes title and then opinion, title, addressee, opinion, basis of opinion, and then key audit matters and other paragraphs are going to come. So key audit matters always will be there where? Below the basis of opinion paragraph. Remember this point. Are we all clear up to here? 701 is completed now. Now let us discuss about another paragraph which is called as ISA 706. See, everyone is getting confused with this 701 and 706. 701 only talks about those matters the auditor want to communicate. Why? Because he felt it as important. But whereas coming to ISA 706, it talks about two things. One is emphasis of matter paragraph, okay, and the second one is other matter paragraph. Okay, ISA 70 talks about what? Two issues. One is emphasis of matter paragraph, the second one is other matter paragraph. Emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. Now listen carefully, what are these emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph? Very important from the exam point of view. So here three things you should remember. First thing is meaning. The second thing is examples. The third thing is audit report. Means how this will be reported in the auditor's report. These three should be remembered by you related to this, okay, concept. First let us discuss about the meaning. Okay, first let us discuss about the meaning. See, emphasis of matter paragraph are those matters where the auditor is putting this inside the audit report to draw the attention of the users of financial statement. Why? Because he felt that these matters are very much fundamental for their understanding. Okay, I will give you a small example. Let us say the company is following SLM method of depreciation. And from this year, the company has changed from SLM to WDV. Okay. Now, do you think that whenever there is a change from the method of depreciation, accordingly accounting adjustments has to be done as per IFRS 16? Sorry, IAS 16, isn't it? It should be done. Yes, it should be done. Now, whenever the adjustments are done, do you think that assets and liabilities are changed? Yes, they are changed. Do you think that P&L account is changed? Yes, that is also changed. Which means already this information will be there in the financial statements. Already this information will be there in the financial statements. This is already there in financial statements. Now, on a overlooking basis, the shareholder may not look into this. Why? Because he will say that yes, I am associated with this company from many years. The depreciation is charged on SLM basis only. This year also they have charged on SLM basis only. There is a possibility, no? So if the auditor feels that no, it is very important that the shareholder should know that there is a change in the method of depreciation, accounting policy has been changed, then the auditor will be using the emphasis of matter paragraph, right? So by putting emphasis of matter paragraph, auditor want to what? Draw the attention of the users of financial statement about what? About some matters, and these matters are already presented and disclosed in financial statements. These are presented and disclosed in financial statements. Like I told you about this is already disclosed in financial statements. If the auditor want to highlight this, if the auditor want to highlight this, then he will be putting this emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay, see, listen everyone, wordings are very important here. Try to read as many times as possible these wordings. See, an emphasis of matter paragraph is used to refer to a matter that has been appropriately presented and disclosed in financial statements by the directors. The auditor judgment in these matters of such fundamental importance to the user's understanding of financial statements that the auditor should emphasize the disclosure. Or you can change little bit and you can write that the auditor want to draw the attention of the users of financial statement about some matters which are appropriately presented and disclosed in the financial statements. Now coming to examples. See, an uncertainty related to the future outcome of exceptional litigation or regulatory action. In simple language, the outcome of court cases. The outcome of court cases. Outcome of cases. This is already disclosed in financial statements. Under contingent liability, it will be disclosed. But still, if the auditor want to highlight about this, he can highlight that. है ना? And next, the significant events occur between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report. Right? These are subsequent events. These are called as what? So subsequent events. This also will be disclosed in the financial statements. But if the auditor want to highlight, he can highlight. Early application of accounting standards. Accounting standards may be made applicable in the upcoming year. There are some changes, but your company follows today from this year itself. The auditor want to highlight this. He can still do that. Major catastrophe that have had a significant effect on the entity's financial position. Catastrophe is nothing but disaster, natural calamities. Okay, so if it occurs, what type of impact it has shown on your financial statements, the auditor can highlight this, draw the attention of users of financial statement. Okay, these are very important. Please remember this. Now listen very carefully. What happens in the auditor's report? What happens in the auditor's report? In the auditor's report, there should be a separate section called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Right? You put a heading of this, and below that you start explaining one by one. Okay. Next comes our position in the auditor's report. I already told you this. So you put a heading called as, sorry, it will come below the base of opinion paragraph. This already I told you. Title, addressee, opinion, basis of opinion. Below that key audit matters. Below that emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay. So where a key audit matter session is presented in the auditor's report, an emphasis of matter paragraph may be presented either directly before or after the key audit matter section based on the auditor's judgment as to the relativity of the significance of the information included in the emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay, done. Next comes other matter paragraph. Next comes what? Other matter paragraph. Now listen, sir, why this other matter paragraph is there? Listen to my words very carefully. Other matter paragraph, also auditor is going to put some information. You want to highlight something, draw the attention of users of financial statement about certain matters which are not presented in the financial statements, which are not disclosed in the financial statements. This is the only difference between emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. Sorry, other matter paragraph. What is the difference? Here the auditor will highlight some matters which are already there in financial statements. Here the auditor will highlight some matters which are not there in the financial statements. Right? Have you all understood these two differences? Very important. Students are making a lot of mistakes here. They could not understand the difference between emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. Once again repeat. Emphasis of matter paragraph means highlighting about the information which is already presented and disclosed in financial statements. And other matter paragraph is about those matters which are not there in the financial statement. Okay, once see these examples, you can understand in a very better manner. Okay, see, if the auditor want to communicate that the audit report is intended solely to a specified or intended users. For example, the audit has been conducted on the financial statements for foreign people. Right, multinational companies, they need to prepare a financial statement as per their requirement in their another country. Right, if you audited that, you need to clearly mention that no, this audit report is only for those users who are there in a specific country, not Indian users. Now, do you think that this will be there in financial statement somewhere? Nowhere it will be there. Okay. When the law or regulation or generally accepted accounting practices requires or permits the auditor to further explain their responsibilities. Now, if the auditor want to detailedly explain about the auditor's responsibilities, can he do that? Yes, he can do that. No problem. This will be there in financial statements? No, it will not be there. Next, if the auditor want to explain why the auditor has not resigned, when a pervasive inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, which means auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, but still he could not resign and go. If you want to tell that why he cannot go, he should actually go. We have discussed in the starting of this video, right? Whenever the management puts any limitation, you resign. Okay. Now sometimes resignation may not be possible. In that case, you want to describe that in the auditor's report, right? In that case, you can use emphasis of other matter paragraph, and you can discuss here. Next, communicate audit planning and scope matters. If you want to communicate, where will you communicate? You can communicate under other matter paragraph. And the entity is preparing one set of financial statements in accordance with some special purpose framework. This will be there anywhere in the financial statements? Nowhere it will be there. If you observe all these points, these are not there in financial statements. Now about these matters, if the auditor want to highlight or draw the attention, in that case auditor would be using other matter paragraph. Other matter paragraph will be used by auditors. Okay, see whatever I have highlighted here, you try to remember those keywords that should compulsorily be written in the exam. Okay, that should compulsorily be written in the exam, my dear. See, whereas coming to the position in the auditor's report, you can write in your own words. Nobody is going to bother that. Okay, meaning should be correct. But these words that I'm highlighting here, that should be written as it is in the exam. Please remember these words. Okay. Next, coming to position in the auditor's report, which means emphasis of other matter paragraph. Where will you put in the where will you put in the auditor's report? See, remember, other matter paragraph should always be included. Should always be included what? Near other reporting responsibilities. Okay, which is report on other legal and regulatory requirement section is there now. There the auditor need to mention about the other matter paragraph. Okay, about that he need to mention, or below that also he can mention. No problem. Okay, so where other matter paragraph is included to draw the attention of the user's attention to a matter relating to the other reporting responsibilities addressed in the auditor's report, the paragraph may be included in the report on other legal and regulatory requirement. Have you all understood this? Otherwise, he need to mention this as a separate section called as auditors, this other matter paragraph above the other legal and regulatory requirement paragraph. Okay, so this is very important standard. So meaning and examples are very important. Please do keep that in your mind. This may be also asked as multiple choice questions. Okay, so this is all about this chapter. We have done the revision of all the topics. Going concern we have not yet discussed. We'll discuss the going concern in our upcoming videos. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a nice time. Okay, and please do comment on about your concerns. If you have any concerns, please do comment so that I can understand what is your requirement and I can come up with a better content. So that's all for today. Have a nice time, and again will be meeting on our next video. Okay, bye.